Hey everybody, this is Free Spiriters Plumi. So I'm going to do my first video on spiritual protection and how it relates to wrapping your head. Now, I will warn you, I am very biased because I have been exposed to traditional African religions and I've witnessed it many times and I've seen the benefits of it. Um, you may notice why in many African traditional religions you see women and men covering their hair, whether it be with a hat or a wrap, head wrap, whatever you want to call it. And I just want to ask you something really quick. For many of you on this channel, I'm pretty sure you've seen basic horror films, especially if you've seen movies about possession in particular. I wanted to just pose a quick question. If you hadn't noticed, a lot of times in movies when people get possessed, you tend to notice it first in their upper body, and you kind of see them change as you go down. You'll notice um, their eyes will change, their neck. They'll start twitching their neck. They'll start contorting their upper body, and it's because in a lot of spiritual traditions, people believe that possession occurs kind of in spiritually from your head. Um, and like for instance, in Santeria, certain spirits are said to be, you're crowned, So basically, there's just kind of like this belief that spirits enter you from the upper body and go on down. So basically it starts here. It starts up in the head, and you have to protect especially if you believe in chakras, your crown chakra, you have to protect your head and your hair. There was an article about Native Americans, and this is actually factual, about how in the military drafted Native American men, and they started to notice that when they drafted them into the military and they cut their hair off, their performance wasn't as good as when they were in their own within their context of their culture. And it was because they did a little study about how their hair allowed them to spiritually pick up on danger faster, and how your hair is it's like a spiritual tool almost. And in many religions, not just African traditional religions, the hair is viewed as very powerful, is very symbolic, but also spiritually, people wrap their heads. That's another reason why they wrap. So now you can kind of wrap your head around why in many African traditional religions, people wrap their hair, wrap their head. It's believed that you're not psychologically, but psychically vulnerable to possession. You're vulnerable to absorbing the negative energy, spiritually through your crown chakra, through your head. So one thing I would suggest, especially if you are going to do any kind of channeling, well, I mean, I guess with channeling, you want the spirits to come. But what some people do is like for instance, if you want to channel or do automatic writing, you wrap your head up, and if you only want good entities to come, you would wrap your head and you would place a crystal on your crown chakra, like for instance, one that blocks out negative energy or negative entities, like for instance, hematite or black tourmaline. That's one way. Also, if you are doing scrying work, you never know what you're going to see. It's best to wrap your head. If you see people wrapping, especially African Americans, those African descent wrapping their head, it's because they're protecting their aura, they're protecting their spiritual self. They don't want to be susceptible to any negative energy. So, I mean, definitely a cultural thing for many different people. It's not mandatory. It depends on what you practice, but if you're doing something, especially if you're kind of scared or worried about possession or worried about being influenced or worried about just being attacked, wrap your head. Do it your own way, but make sure typically the hair is pinned up or in a ponytail or tightly wrapped so that none of the hair is exposed. And also, not just by wrapping your head, also, you really have to set the mood when you're doing certain things, and I'm not going to go into that too far because I want to break this up into different videos. But in terms of wrapping your head, wrapping your hair, now you kind of know, oh wow, I could read something. Now you know why people do that, and that's a form of spiritual protection. So definitely, it's a very easy, simple way. It doesn't matter what color. Wrap your hair, wrap your hair, wrap your hair. Especially if you are working with spirits. You don't know what can be good, you don't know what can be bad. So that's just a tip for spiritual protection. I mean, like I said, it's a cultural one, but anybody can benefit. You don't have to do it the African way or Afrocentric way. You can, get a little bandana. It's up to you, but I always wrap my hair whenever, like, if I'm praying or something, doing any kind of spiritual activity, I will wrap my hair. So there's one tip.